Okay, so to finish off our assignment 2, this is the clone stamp that kind of finishes it all off. To make final changes, I want to turn on every layer except for the background layers, including the sketch and anything else. And I can use that gray to make sure it really is cleanly cut out, and it is. I know my tail's weird, but I'm probably going to add one. And then I want you to turn off your clone stamp layer as well, because the problem with your clone stamp layer is it's likely soft in some places, like by the belly here. You see? All that good stuff. So, turn off your clone stamp layer next. Then go to the very top, the top layer that's showing. You're going to hold down Option. Doesn't matter what tool you're on. Then go to Layer while you're holding down Option and go to Merge Visible. Now you have to hold down Option while you do Merge Visible, otherwise it will get rid of all your individual layers. This way, if I hold down Option and click Merge Visible, it will make a brand new layer on top of everything that contains all of my different collage cutouts. Now what I want to do is use that layer and use the magic wand with contiguous unchecked so I can get these little undercuts. And I select all the empty space. All of it that you see here. Okay. And then if you see any undercuts there that are inside your space, like I have a little gap there, I'm going to use my lasso, hold down Option, and deselect that because I don't want it to erase that. Okay, so now this is only empty grid space. Now I'm going to turn on my clone stamp layer, move that clone stamp layer up above the new layer I just created. And you see how my selection of the background traveled with me. And so just so you can see it clearly, I'll turn on the background here. You can see that fuzziness that clone stamp created. Now I can hit delete from my clone stamp layer and clean all that up so that I have a nice, sharp, finished outline. And if there's little debris, like I see a little bit of it here, I'm going to go ahead and turn off every other layer, or just to make it really easy, every grouping that I collaged. I'm not deleting them, I'm just turning their eyeball off. And I can see these little flecks on white. I couldn't see them on gray. And now I have just one layer very cleanly to erase them from. This is just final cutting out. I also have one layer that I can do final dodging and burning to. One layer I can do final color adjusting, should I want to. One layer that unites them all. And that is a very, very handy technique. It's called Merge Visible, but holding down Option. And you might see, now with clone stamp, I'm going to use a hard brush, 80% hardness, at 100% opacity, just to fix little issues I might have. Where is my clone stamp? There it is. Because it's the silhouette shape that matters most at this stage. Okay, so is my silhouette clear? It is. And that's my clone stamp all on its own. It's kind of interesting how it actually looks. That's it with all the layers behind it, and this is it without the clone stamp. But notice my arms, I still need to have those above the clone stamp layer. I was forgetting that. And that's why they didn't get cleaned up. So let me clean those up. So much to do. Okay. So now to finish this off and submit it, I'm going to turn off my background layers. So it's just floating. It's cropped. I save it as a PSD file. And now I'm going to save as a new file type called a PNG. And I'm going to save that to the desktop, so Command D when you're in the search window. A PNG will merge it all into one layer, but it will preserve the transparency. So it won't fill this background in with white as a JPEG would. And that will really help us see how well you're able to get rid of all that debris. So I can see that. It's on my desktop now. If I just double click it and open it in preview, it will show on a light gray background, just because that's preview's default background. And you can see how it's just kind of floating there like a cutout, which is perfect. You should have your name. You're going to submit that assignment along with your sketch. So if you have your sketch, you can just submit that as it is. In my case, I have to turn on my sketch. And save it with a new name. And that I will submit as a JPEG to the desktop. Now, as long as you cropped your PNG, it shouldn't be too large to put onto PhotoBucket, though it will be more memory than a JPEG because it takes more memory to preserve transparency. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. All right, then you go to PhotoBucket. You find assignment 2 under library. Remember, we're using Chrome. You shouldn't have to sign in. Let's go to library. Go to digital 1. Those of you who have uploaded into the basket, or to the bucket, you need to move them into the right assignment folders. Click on Digital 1 Assignments. You'll see them down here. This is Assignment 2, Collage Creature. And this is where we want to upload them. So you can just drag and drop first your sketch in, then your PNG, and we use the same labeling convention we've used before. And once they come in, you click them to title them. So I find my sketch, and I add a title, FA16 Carl 1 for the sketch. And then FA16 Carl 2 for the finished PNG, at least as finished as we can make it so far. And I can tell if it's a JPEG or a PNG. You can see that gray background. So those are the two components. And then if everyone gets them labeled correctly, your sketch and your final project should appear next to each other. If you have a project you want to delete, instead of deleting it, just move it to the trash. If you want to move your projects into the right assignment folder, you just click them and drag and drop them in. But then once you've dragged and dropped from one folder into another, you'll need to rename it. It strips it of its name. So then just go in and title them correctly. All right, I look forward to it.